Hey everyone, welcome to the GardenStateHSWrestling.com Region Primer. We are right there. We're ready to go. We are less than a week away from heading down to AC to crown our next set of champions. But before we get there, let's talk about the people who got us here so far, our sponsors. First, Dan Wernickoff Champion Athletes. I feel like I've been beating the drum for Dan for a long time. You are an athlete or you're not an athlete and you want to feel better about yourself. Your body is your car. Why put in bad fuel? Let Dan help you with that fuel. He'll give you a meal plan. He'll help you lose the weight you need to be. Like I said, if you want to be a competitive athlete, you could use it. If you just want to lose a little pounds and, fit into that dress or impress some people, Dan will help you do that. In-state, out-of-state, give him a shout at championathletes.com. Also, the Apex Wrestling School. 4 locations in New Jersey, 1 in New York, founded by Damian Logan and his college roommate, Dane Tabano. It's one of the fastest growing wrestling schools in the area and a proud sponsor of all things we do here at GardenStateHSWrestling.com and the Harrington Companies. You got a house? You want to make it look nice? You want to rip it down and start anew? Call the Harrington Companies. They can help you out. Recycling, demolition, and landscaping. Now, James, thank you for joining me. I guess I should introduce you, but I wanted to get to the sponsors first. Yep. So you just sat there all slack-jawed staring at me as we did it. But we are at region time, and now it's the best of the best. We're going to be, having some coverage. I know we're going to be doing some great stuff. I'm going to do like we did for the district primer. I'll read you who I got, and you just tell me if anybody pops out that you even think maybe, might be out there. And it's going to be a little different because when we did the district primer, which you can watch as well, we broke it up a little bit, and we only gave winners. Here, I'm going to try to guess all 4. So that's going to be a little tougher. And the one thing I always laugh about, too, and I try to explain to people when they do stuff, look at it, you got to realize that you got to predict where guys are going to lose. And I hate to do that, but what I mean by that is just because somebody has a good draw, they may lose in the semifinals, which in turn flips the script on the bottom in the losers bracket. So you think, oh, wow, this guy might be this guy, but they can't because of how everything goes. So we're going to start with 1 at West Orange or at West Milford. We're going to be covering that region. You can actually watch it. The link will be up. You'll be able to see it on the main page. We'll be there. I will be on the call at Region 1, West Milford. Love West Milford. They also host the PCT, so we really enjoy getting up there to them. But when I look at West Milford, it's interesting to me because I really like the matchups here. And it used to be, for the most part, we know the last couple of years, it was the St. Joe Montvale show. They were winning a lot the last couple of years. They're now in Region 2, so it opens up the region a little bit with how they go. So it's going to be a little bit different where it was just basically penciling in, a private school guy. But I'm going to look at 106. These are who I got. And like I said, I think this is going to be pretty close. Or, I think this should be solid. I actually got, in my 106 finals, I got Joseph Viola from Seton Hall Prep, who is the 4 seed. I have him meeting Frank Fiegel from Jefferson. Viola is the 3 seed. Fiegel's the 4th seed. So I have both of them making the finals with Fiegel winning it. And in the consolation match, I have Augie Zamretta from Warren Hills versus Caleb Ambrose from Hawthorne. What do you think of those, James?
I like those. I like those a lot. I definitely do like Augie Zamretta. I think Augie Zamretta is going to make the finals. I think he's been solid this year. And I think as far as meeting on the other side, I do think Joseph Viola from Seton Hall is going to meet up with Zamretta, but Zamretta comes out on top. But I definitely do like those picks that you gave there.
Heading to 113. This is one of the ones I kind of look at. And to me, I think there's one guy that really stands out. That's Jack Bergman from Lakeland. I think he's going to make it at the top part of the bracket. And then he's the number 1 seed. And then when I look at the lower bracket, I think, who's there. I think Anthony Pellegrino, a junior from Seton Hall Prep, I think he makes it there on the other part of the bracket. And then The other two district winners, you're going to have Jack Lorper from Hawthorne and Delvin Rote from DePaul Catholic, making it in the 3-4 match.
Yep, I agree with that 100%. I'm going with the same thing as you.
And like I said, Bergman's legit. So I mean, that's going to be a very good matchup there. This one at 120, I have Logan Brzezowski, who we didn't get a chance to see at the Essex County tournament. He's just coming back from injury and illness. He's the top seed at 120. I think he's going to make the final. And I think he's going to wind up meeting Devin Ryan from New Milford, the number 2 seed, in the final there. And then in the consolation match, this is one of those ones that I find a little interesting because you got to see where people fall and such. I really like the two that stick out to me if they get past their first round. Well, if the one gets past his first round matchup, which I think he will, Jason Krastowski from Butler. I think he's going to face Brian Little from Don Bosco Prep in the 3-4 match.
Yep, and I agree with those. With Logan Brzezowski from Seton Hall winning it.
I think Logan takes it. Then you head to 120 or 126. Excuse me. Then you're looking at different people here. I really like in this weight. I think you're going to see a couple prizes as qualifies, but I think you're going to see Marco Alarcon from Don Bosco Prep, and I think he's going to meet the guy he beat last week from in the finals. I think Wayne, even though he lost, he's got a favorable draw. So I think you're going to see that in the finals. And then my consolation match, this is one I kind of was trying to pick and see. I really like Aiden Sedeno from Pascack Valley, but I really like Michael Vandermeulen from Jefferson. And I think that's going to be the consolation match. And I think Desai actually avenges his loss in the districts.
I agree. I picked Desai as the one to meet up with Marco Alarcon from Don Bosco, and I picked Desai to win it this time.
Yeah, I think it's hard to beat somebody twice like that, so it's going to be interesting to see. Now we're going to head to 132. This is going to be interesting to me because I like a lot of the wrestlers in this weight, but I'm almost picking an upset in a sense here. I think Colin Menier is going to make the final on the top. I like him in his opening round match. I think he beats Wiz from Pequannock. I think he's going to be solid against Clayton. He's going to have a tough test against Santino Denise in the semis. I think he can take Santino close. So I look for him to be in the finals there. And then somebody we thought when we covered some stuff early in the season, his season was over, Tyler Redfield from Warren Hills. I like Tyler to make the finals in the lower part of the bracket. And then I also like Denise to finish in the consolation with Jersey Ryan from New Milford. But I'm going with Redfield here. I just really like how impressive he's been wrestling-wise. And I think he takes it at 132.
I think that's a really good pick, and I think Redfield is actually going to – I just have it a little bit different than you. I'm going to go with him meeting Santino Denise from Don Bosco, and I have Santino Denise taking it in a very, very close matchup with Redfield. But I think Redfield has a good possibility to win it here too, but I'm going with Denise in a very close match.
And it's nothing against Denise. It's very possible. I just thought Minier, there's something about it. And like I like Denise. I covered him at Hanover Park. So it's nothing against it. It's just, I was looking, I'm like, I don't know. And you always get some of those surprises, especially some of that. And that's kind of, it wouldn't shock me. And we're not talking about it, somebody who is a scrub, would be beating Denise. It'd be Minier who, has a great year as a medalist, but it had lost in the district final. So he gets a middle seed, but it's enough that he could have a shot. But let's head to 138. This is going to be one. I don't know if I'd call this interesting. There's a couple guys I think are going to have really good runs here. I really like Ryan Langenmeyer. I think he's going to take it. He's going to come in from the top. And then I think you're going to see a slight upset in the bottom. I think you're going to see Carlo Van Valkenburg from Seton Hall Prep meeting him in the finals. And then in the consolation match, I got Logan Harenko from Sparta versus Josh Lee. I think those are going to be the four guys going. And I think Langenmeyer wins it.
I agree. I think Langemeyer is going to go to the finals. I think he's going to beat whoever he does wrestle, which I think is going to be Van Volkenberg from Seton Hall. And then we'll, like you said, I like Logan Horenko to kind of finish in that consolation match. We'll see how he matches up with Josh Lee for seeding purposes, but I like those picks a lot. So I'm going to go very similar to what you did.
Now this one's going to be interesting because I like how everything broke down for Region 1 with here. So the one thing I like here is because apparently they've changed the brackets from when I wrote down my picks earlier. So I'm gonna have to pick here on the fly, but I like who I have in my sense here. One of the guys I was actually going to keep in, I thought really has been impressive. I think Benjamin Marchetto takes the top, is the top seed. He's going to take it here. I think he advances to the finals. And then I like him to meet Nicholas Oriola from Seton Hall Prep in the finals. And then when you look at the consolation matches, I think I'm going to say it's going to be Brady Dransfield from Indian Hills, who is the 3 seed. And then I'm going to go out on a little bit of surprise here. I like AJ Tritola from Ridgewood. So those will be the 4 you see there. And you know who goes on there. And like I said, I think Marchetto wins it in his home gym.
I agree. I like Benjamin Marchetto. He was a former state place winner from 2 years ago. I think he's going to come in. I think he's going to go in and win it at 144 against the Seton Hall Prep wrestler. I just like Marchetto to really do really well. And I think West Milford's got a couple of good individuals that have a really good chance of winning a region title this weekend.
Oh, we got some guys we're coming up to. So, yes, there are a few that we're looking at. Now, head to 150 here. 150. A lot of guys we don't really cover, but guys I want to keep an eye on. I'm looking at here 150. I'm picking Jeremy Quesada from Dumont versus Jake Waka from Pascack Hills. I think that'll be the final. I like Quesada there. And then in my consolation match, I really like Reese Smith versus Joey Monticello from Don Bosco Prep.
I think this was definitely one of those most difficult weight classes because we know like everyone is pretty close within one another despite the differences in seedings. But I went with something a little bit different. I think with John Gill's coaching ability and how his wrestlers always pull out some of those big upsets in these kind of big time tournaments, I'm taking Reese Smith to win it at 150 pounds. I just have that gut feeling that one of these Kittatinny wrestlers are going to pull off some crazy upset that we're going to see this weekend. And I think Reese Smith is going to go in and do that. And he's going to go up against, I believe, is going to be ended up being Joey Monticello from Don Bosco.
So you have the consolation match I have as your winners.
That's correct.
Okay, no worries. I mean, listen, if we all knew this, we would never. You know what I mean? It's tough to get them through. Now this one, I'll explain what I did here when I made my picks. But 157, I got James DeCunto versus Sean Walker. North Warren versus Lakeland. 2 really solid guys. I think they'll meet up, and I like both guys. DeCunto's been on another level this year. I mean, just the stuff he's done and the focus. I don't think that stops here. I mean, he's Cinderella, and I think he's still got some time left in the bowl. So I mean, he's good there. And then as far as my final, I like Luke Batesel, but I think Nicholas Laciatello is gonna, beat him, and then he's gonna have to wrestle back. My 2 that I actually have making in the consolation is Nicholas Laciatello from Ponte Lakes and Joseph Lucarello from Wayne Hills. I think it's going to be a really, really good consolation match if that comes to pass.
I think this is definitely one of the toughest weight classes that we've picked, but I definitely agree 100% with the winner of James DeCunto. Listen, ever since we saw him wrestle HWS, this guy has proven that he has all the physical tools to go in there and be a top contender down in Atlantic City going into next week. I like him a lot. I think he's going to. I really like a lot of these wrestlers here, but I think there's a good chance. I think he's going to be either Sean Walker or Joseph Luciarello from Wayne Hills as his finalist. But I think DeCunto really wins it all. But it's
Yeah,
gonna be.
I
This is
really
gonna
like
be
him
the tough.
there.
I think this is the toughest weight class that we've looked at so far. But I like DeCunto
Yeah,
to win it
this,
all.
this is one of those. It's like usually you can kind of understand, and you maybe somebody lost in a district final, and it might change. That this is a tough one. That's a tough one. It's equally as tough as you had the 165. I get for mine. I have Benjamin Garcia from Don Bosco Prep. I think he makes it up top, and then going down on the bottom, we were just talking about Kittatinny. I think Ethan Dolan makes it there, and I think Dolan wins it. I mean, he's been on a roll this year as a junior, and and what he's doing. And we talked about DeCunto. That's one of the guys he lost to. I mean, I think he's been on a roll since the HWS. He's ready to roll through. And in a consolation match, I got Owen Delgado from Ramsey and Ryan Flammer from Jefferson.
I agree with that. I do agree with your finals, Benjamin Garcia and Don Bosco, and I like Ethan Dolling a lot. Like you said, ever since that HWS matchup, he lost to DeCunto 1-0. He's been on a totally different level. He has not lost since then. He's got that mentality that, listen, I'm going to try to take after, make a name for myself, keep the family name going at Kittatinny Regional. But yeah, I like Dolling a lot. I think he has a very good chance that he could give Kittatinny a second region title this weekend.
And then heading to 175. This is interesting because I like I said, some of these guys trying to pick where they're going to go and everywhere. So for my finals, I have Michael Fusilli from Don Bosco Prep and Gavin Sealer from Westwood. And then the two I have in the consolation, this is going to be interesting because I really like these guys. And it's going to be interesting to see if it has. It'd be nice to be a nice little story if it came to fruition. But I got Bryce Coesfeld heading into the consolation, and then one that I'm going to pull out there that has been really under the radar this year for this team. True DiGiuseppe from Vernon. I mean, this guy has been doing great, and would be Vernon's first state qualifier since 2007. So it's a nice little human interest story right in there. He's got a tough draw. Honestly, he's got a tough draw with Logan Garrett's in North Warren's first. Then he's going to have the winner of Windrum and Shannon. Shannon's one of the top seeds from Emerson Park Ridge. So if he can get past there, he's going to be golden. If he falls down into the losers bracket, the problem we might have is where I said if he loses in the quarterfinals, and Coesfeld makes the semifinals, they're going to meet earlier than expected. But those are my guys right there, and I think that's who I'm leaning with.
Yeah, I definitely think I do think my winner is the Westwood wrestler of Gavin Sealer. I think he wins it. Bryce Coesfeld is going to be in there, but I think he's going to be in the constellation finals. It would be very interesting if DiGiuseppe from Vernon does get in there because, like you said, because of the history behind Vernon wrestling. But also keep your eye on a little bit on Logan Garrix of North Warren too. He's been kind of flying up under the radar as well too, and not enough people have really been talking about. North Warren's got a couple of really good individuals in here. James DeCunto being one of them, and then the 106 pounder of Connor Hollowich. So there could be a teammate that could be joining DeCunto this, coming up this weekend down in Atlantic City. And I wouldn't be shocked if Logan Garrix does get in there.
Yeah, I like I said, it's one of those. A lot of these second and third, it's tough, and that's another tough one. 190 was tough too. So for 190, I got Nevin Matisich from Don Bosco Prep versus Zach Darwish from Ramapo. That's my final. And then my consolation match, I got Aiden Dugan from Westward versus Luke Brown from Sparta. I like Matisich to win it all, though.
I agree. I am going to take Matisich from Don Bosco to win it all. And I think personally, because as you said, I like Aiden Dugan a lot from Westwood. I think he's going to make the finals, and I think he's unfortunately going to go up against Matisic, and I think Matisic will take it there. And then the constellations too. There's a couple wrestlers that I kind of want to keep an eye on. Clarke Rich from Seton Hall Prep, and I also like really a lot too Wyatt Cisco from Kinnelon.
Mhm.
I think those are some good wrestlers that I personally would even keep an eye on. And of course, obviously the 2 seed of Zach Dorwish from Ramapo. But those are some wrestlers that I definitely would keep an eye on going into this weekend, seeing if there's going to be any crazy upsets going on, because I think there's going to be an upset going on in this particular weight class.
Now head to 215. I think this is pretty much chalk for my final. I got Rocco Salerno from Seton Hall Prep, facing Dante DeLuca from Don Bosco Prep. I'm going with a little bit of an upset here. I think DeLuca wins it. I like him in this weight. I think he's always been a good wrestler. I think he's now getting it, if that makes sense. Like he's finally, his mind, his skill, and his body are all coming together as he's doing it. It's finally clicking. And in the consolation match, I got Cole Hughes from Emerson versus Ethan Mendel from Northern Highlands. But I like DeLuca at this weight.
I think this is going to be a good final to watch. As you said, I think DeLuca is really good and he's really showing it. But I also do think that Rocco Salerno from Seton Hall Prep, the top seed, I think he just has that slight edge. I think DeLuca is going to wrestle him really well. This could be a match that I think will go into that ultimate ride out and then see who rides out each other. I think that it'll be like a 3-2 match to see who can ride out who. But I like Salerno, and I like DeLuca to make the finals, but Salerno goes in and wins it. And then I like Cole Hughes from Emerson Park Ridge. I think these Emerson Park Ridge wrestlers are definitely being overlooked.
A little underrated. They're not getting the respect I think people deserve, but they're quality wrestlers.
100%. They really are, and they've always done a really good job out there. So Emerson's got to get a state qualifier somewhere, and I think Cole Hughes has been on that role this year to be able to do it. So I think he will definitely meet up with anybody in this weight class in the constellations.
Finally, we had the heavyweight, my favorite weight. I got Robert Ekins from Don Bosco Prep facing Spencer Rabitsky from West Milford. I'm going with Rabitsky here. Kid's undefeated. Really has turned it on. I mean, we were talking last year where at the PCT it was kind of disappointing because the top seed pulled out and it kind of opened up heavyweight, and I was like, oh, who's gonna? Rabitsky's been on a roll, like unbelievable, and he's really anchored that upper weights, especially heavyweight for West Milford, and I think he takes it. And the guy he beat in the counties, I think Cooper Strubble from Lakewood makes it to the consolation. And I like Timothy Conley from Jefferson to come out.
100%. I'm going with that same thing, that same final. I like Struble a lot from Lakeland, and I like Rabitsky, but I think Rabitsky wins it in his home gym to give West Milford another region champion here. But I also like Timmy Connolly, and then another wrestler just to kind of keep an eye on and see what will happen. He'll have to face Rabitsky in the quarters if things work out. But I like Mason Brigado from Popton Lakes too. Another really quality.
Yeah, Mason's older brother Remy went to Bergen Catholic, so he's got the talent. It'll be interesting to see, but Rabitsky might be a little too much, but we'll see about how that goes when we get there. Now we're going to jump on the highway. We're going to head down the road to Region 2. That's at Mount Olive. Good amount of people here, but this is kind of where St. Joe's wound up. So it's going to be interesting. 106, I like for my final. I like Almar Tonkara from Teaneck and Omar Asfour from Lodi. I'm leaning towards Tonkara from Teaneck. And then in the consolation match, I got Charles Esposito of St. Joe Montvale versus Logan Forgath from Par Hills.
So I'm going to go with, I think, Charles Esposito from St. Joe's. I think he'll make the final, and I think he's going to win it. And then I think he's going to meet might be a little bit of an upset, but we'll see how things go. But I do like Logan Fargatch from Par Hills to kind of find a way to be able to upset Omar Tonkira from Teaneck. I think that will be the final, but I think Esposito is going to be a little bit too much. But I think Omar from Teaneck will meet in the constellations, and then whoever does end up being there, we'll see what happens. But it would be interesting to see if Jaden Mendez from Dover actually qualifies, and that would give another team that hasn't had a state qualifier in, oh boy, a long time too.
He's got a tough draw though.
This is the toughest one.
I like Mendez, but he's got a tough draw. I mean, and it's very tough. But speaking of a tough draw, 113. I like so mine. The way I broke it down is, I got Tyler Hagginson from Mount Olive in the top part of the bracket. I like him, and then in the bottom part of the bracket, I got Benamino DeCoca from St. Thomas Aquinas. I like Hagginson to win it in his home gym. I think that's what's going to happen. And then in the consolation match, I got James McGinty from Par Hills versus Jonathan McGinty from St. Joe's, who they're cousins. So it'll be interesting to see those guys go at it. And a couple other, two other guys to keep an eye on too, who can make some noise and if they get on a good run. You're looking at Massimo Gonzalez from Phillipsburg. He's going to get the other McGinty, Jonathan McGinty, in the quarters Friday night if he makes it there. If he beats Shane Singh, which is not an easy task, from Passaic Valley. And then another young guy to keep an eye on, a sophomore, Issa Koopa from Boonton. He'll get Evan McGinnity from Hackensack, a senior, in the first round. He's going to get McGinty in the second if he makes it. So it'll be a tough sledding, but he'd be somebody wouldn't be surprised could wrestle back and be in that talk right there.
Oh, 100%. And I think my picks is going to be Tyler Hagginson winning in his home gym. And the person who I think he's going to meet up with is going to be Jonathan McGinty from St. Joe's. And then the constellations, I like James McGinty. I think he's on a really good roll. So I think James McGinty can meet there as well. And as you said, Issa Koopa from Boonton could surprise some people too with his record, with everything he's been able to do this year. Wouldn't be no shock if he does end up qualifying for states.
Head into 120. I got Mikey Bautista from St. Joe's Montvale, and I have him meeting Brody Bogues from Fairlawn in the finals. And then my consolation match. This is going to be interesting because they're actually meeting in the quarterfinals. So one has to advance, and then the other one drops into the bracket. I got Owen Garrix from Phillipsburg wrestling Anthony Piemonte from Mount Olive.
That definitely would not be a shocker. What Owen Garrix has been able to do as a freshman, and having his father being able to coach him up, who was the head coach at Centenary, this kid has just been picking it up. He's really been on a roll this past month and a half. He's just been really picking it up as a freshman. Don't be surprised if he gets in. I like Anthony Piemonte too, and my winner is Mikey Bautista. Batista, thank you, from St. Joe's to win it all. But definitely do not count out Owen Garrix. Don't count out Anthony Piemonte. That's going to be a really good constellation to really see.
And then I'll also keep an eye on a Ryland Jones from Montville. I think he could possibly make a run. And then Brandon Rosario from Passaic Valley. We talked about him in the district primer. He could blow up my bracket with a win in the quarterfinals tomorrow night. So this could be all moot come Friday late Friday night. But let's head to 126. And shockingly, I'm going to pick a St. Joe's Montville wrestler to make the finals, Vincent Pano. And somebody who I talked about this on the district final. I feel like he gets overshadowed by some of his teammates, but he's really good this year. Dawson McWilliams of Phillipsburg. I think they're going to be the final there. I really like both guys. And in the consolation match, I got Brandon Barris of Mount Olive versus Najati Salih from Clifton. And like I said, I think Pano takes it. But like I said, wouldn't be surprised if you hear a little bit from a Jaden Barreto or, one of those guys. Hell, Siege Hibbler has the worst draw. He's got Vincent Pano in the quarterfinals. He could wrestle all the way back from Leonia. So we'll see how that goes there. But who do you got, James?
I'm going to go with, this is a tough one for me because I think Pano, winning it last week, but I feel like It's going to be interesting to see how that semifinal match goes up there if everything works out with Williams and Salim, because I really like those two wrestlers a lot, but one of them has to win in order to go to the finals. And I think Salim, the way he won against McWilliams was, pretty handedly for the most part. McWilliams kind of came back a little bit in that match up there at the Group 5 semifinal, but I'm going with Salim to win it all. But McWilliams, though, as a Phillipsburg wrestler, and I have so much respect for Phillipsburg, though, definitely do not count him out. But I definitely think he will qualify, but just possibly only in the consolations, though. But nothing to be ashamed of for sure. Because once you qualify,
No, not at all. It's all about getting there. Just get there, and it is what it is. Just get there. Now we'll head to 132. Another St. Joe Montville wrestler. I have Adrian DeJesus winning the top part of the bracket. I feel he's going to meet Jahir Aguilar from St. Thomas Aquinas in the finals. I think DeJesus should win. And in the consolation match, I got two guys that I've been looking at that I think will do really well. I really like Nico Gregory of Randolph and Gavin Galetta of Phillipsburg. These guys met in the District 6 finals. Galetta won, but I really think they'll wind up meeting again. My dark horse, or the guy who I think might upset everything, don't count out Justin Bullock. He's been wrestling really well this year. He could easily get in there. He has a tough draw in the quarters. He would get the winner of Rayan Muhammad from PCTI and Gregory. And then if he wins that, then he's got the Jesus in the semi. So he's got a good shot, but he's a scrappy wrestler, and I wouldn't put anything past him.
Absolutely not. We've seen Mount Olive wrestle and Justin Bullock quite a few times this year. But I'm going to agree with every single thing. I like Adrian DeJesus to win it all here for St. Joe's. I think he'll meet up with Aguilar from St. Thomas Aquinas. And I like the constellations, and we'll see how that matches up there with that rematch between Nico Gregory and Gavin Galetta.
Now, heading to 138, I have Donnie Almeida from St. Joe's Montville facing Anthony Cummings from Hasbrook Heights, the 1-2 seed. And then my consolation match, again, is a match we're going to see a rematch from this very tournament. I got Fernini from Par Hills facing Zindaki from Wayne Valley. I think whatever wrestler loses there, they are quality enough that they can wrestle all the way back. And they wouldn't meet each other till the consolation final. So I really like that. But I got Almeida winning it overall.
I got Almeida winning it too. I think he's going to win it all. Just depends on who he's going to meet, but I think he should win it. I also do like Noah Zindaki, and I like Mario Fernini. But another wrestler just to kind of keep an eye on is Tyler Wharton from PCTI, who I think could also upset some things too, depending on how everything comes out in play.
Now heading to 144, I got the top seed Luke Galetta facing the second seed James Sloan from St. Joe Montville. I like Galetta in a close one. And then in my consolation match, I have the fourth seed Liam Zeh from St. Thomas Aquinas. I have him facing Rafat Al-Qadarli from Wayne Valley. I think Qadarli's going to have a tough match up there with Galetta. He'll fall into the loser bracket. And then I think the same thing's going to happen to Zeh in the semifinals, but they're going to be on opposite ends, and I think they both wrestle back. Don't sleep on a Connor Wysocki from Randolph. Don't sleep on an Austin Hibbler from Leonia, but or even a Caden Matari from Passaic Valley. But those are my four. I really like. I like how I think that comes together.
I agree with that, and I have Galetta winning it all. I just think Galetta's on a roll this year that I think he could do really well.
Now headed to 150. I like this match. It's actually a rematch from the Group 5 semis. I have, and this is a slight upset for me. I actually have James Conklin of PCTI advancing to the final, and I have him wrestling Gavin Hawk from Phillipsburg, and I think Hawk takes it, or as I put in my preview, swoops in for the title. A little pun there. And then In my consolation match, I got Zach Belante from St. Joe's facing Tanner Perez of Mount Olive.
And I'm gonna go with I like Gavin Hawk in the finals. I think he's gonna not an easy time. Definitely will have some tough competition there, whoever he wrestles in the finals, but in a close one, Hawk wins it against Zach Volante. But I do like James Conklin from PCTI to be able to qualify for states. And I do like Tanner Perez as well, which is a good possibility as well. So I like those wrestlers a lot.
Heading to 157, I got Frank DeBella from St. Joe's Montvale facing Omar Tarecki from PCTI. And then my consolation match, I was looking and I was trying to see draws and everything, and then I went with the one that just kept coming up for me. I like Patrick Day of Peaburg versus Roger Barrazueta from Morris Hills. And I think DeBella takes this.
I agree. I have DeBella as the winner, and I have Tarecki to go into the finals. And I also like your constellations. I think Patrick Day definitely finishes. But another wrestler that we'll see if things kind of work out in their way. I also do like Jarvis Rodriguez from Clifton too. I think he has a pretty good chance here too. But obviously he's going to meet up with DeBella if things work out well in his favor. That is. He'll face him in the quarterfinals. That'll be a tough one there for him. And then as far as who he'll wrestle in the wrestlebacks, we'll see. But don't count him out either.
Now heading to 165, I got Joseph Galetta from Clifton versus Joseph Peretti from St. Joe's Montvale. It's a District 5 final rematch, and I think Galetta takes it again. And then in my consolation match, I like Gavin Gomes from Morris Knolls, who highly impressed me at his district final. Very impressed with what he did there. And I have him wrestling Jeremy Pitcock from Tenafly.
So some good picks there. I definitely do like Joe Galetta, and I'm thinking he's going to win it all. As far as his finalist, Joseph Peretti, I think that's a good final right there. Gavin Gomes in the constellations, and even Nick Barone also has a pretty good chance here too. He'll have a tough one, definitely. He'll definitely have a tough road ahead of him to be able to do it. But see, I think Nick Barone could definitely be able to slide himself into that third, fourth place match.
Now heading to 175, I got a guy I'm picking to win the whole thing. I think this guy's the state champion. He's just waiting to get his medal next week. Ryan Burton from St. Joe's Montvale. I mean, the level he's been on, and I talked about it. I met this kid when he was a freshman at the Paul. He wrestled in my all-star match that year when we first went to Passaic Academy. And I told his mother then, I said, your kid's going to win a state title. She's like, oh, I don't know. I hope. This kid he's hit a switch. He's been ridiculous this year. I think he's going to meet Liam Packer in the finals of 175. I like Burton to take it to Pork Chop Express. And then in the consolation match, there's a lot of good wrestlers in this bracket. I think you get a Dante Benvenuti from Passaic Valley who faces Burton in the quarterfinals. And I really like Nick Doctor. I think Nick Doctor winds up, going out there. And then that can obviously blow up in my face because say Doctor wins, he could lose to a Nico Gonzalez from Mount Olive in the quarters on Friday, and then him and Benvenuti are wrestling each other. But, keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on Connor Scuilla from Hasbrook Heights. That'd be somebody to keep an eye on. And then also a Calvin Acosta Jimenez from Bergenfield. But I really like Burton and Packer to make the finals.
I agree with that one, and Burton would be my pick.
Now we'll head to 190. This is a tough one for me because I think there's 6 really, really top-notch wrestlers and only 4 are getting the states. So when I look at it, my final is Tyler Venus from Mount Olive, and I got him facing Frankie Martino from Passaic Valley. Now, I think both the guys have been on an amazing, amazing roll this year. Like, ridiculous how well they've wrestled. My biggest reason for going with Venus first is because of how well he wrestled Laval in the counties. You're talking about a guy who finished 3rd in the state, proves he's ready to go. I give it a slight edge to Venus. And then in my consolation match, Caleb Jackson from St. Joe Montvale. I like him. And I like Nazareth Pina from St. Thomas Aquinas. But I wouldn't be shocked if you're looking at maybe a Derek Stone making a run, a Malik Azubi from Persephone, Ronaldo Di Giacopo from Mountain Lakes, or even a Cole Mogensen from Tenafly. There's a lot of good wrestlers in this way.
100%, but only 4, as you said, are going to make it in. But I think Tyler being this from Mount Olive wins it all. But I do think it's going to be a really good match between him and Martino if all things do work out. This could be outstanding wrestler worthy. I'm just going to make that call right. I'm going to make that call right now. This is OW worthy right here.
Now ahead to 215. I got Stephen Cogan from St. Thomas Aquinas, and I got a wrestler William Knapp from Roxbury. Knapp said something to me at the districts, and I really appreciate it. And, you know, I hope I'm not stepping out of turn by saying this. I asked him what changed this year, because he seemed to really step it up. And his exact words to me, and, you know, a knock on wood, he said to me, when you invited me to your all-star match, meaning the GardenStateHSWrestling.com all-star match, which he was on the winning team of myself, didn't want to throw that in your face, James, but he said to me, he goes, you know what? That gave me the confidence that I can actually wrestle well. And he goes, that for some reason clicked with him. So I take no credit for anything he's done. Trust me, he's doing great on the mat. But I just thought it was really cool that he kind of said that he believed in himself because he got invited to the all-star match. So that just proves what we can do. And then in the consolation, I got Albert Ortiz from Teaneck, and I got him wrestling Brandon Veneziano from Passaic Valley. I'm going with the upset here. Maybe I'm in the emotions. Maybe I'm rooting because of this. I like Knapp. You know what I mean? I know maybe I'm being a little colorblind. I like Knapp in this situation.
This was a tough one for me, the 215, because this is like where you kind of get up to that upper echelon of weight classes where it gets to be a little bit tough. But this is one of the toughest ones that I had to pick. But I think Knapp is going to make the finals. There could be other good wrestlers in here too. This is definitely a tough one, and I also do like Andrew Bauman from Par Hills too, who also has been having a nice season for himself. But you know what? The upset, I like upsets. I think we all kind of like to see upsets and an underdog do well. I think William Knapp from Roxbury could potentially be able to do it at this weight.
That's what I'm saying. I really like what they're doing. And, you know, the one thing too, and we'd be remiss if we didn't mention it, this was actually the Aiden Schlett weight for St. Joe's Montvale, but he pulled out before district. So it would have been a different way how everything went. But yeah, I like him there. Heading to 285, this is going to be a battle. When I look at some of the guys up and down, I mean, there's 2 that jump out to me right away. I think in the finals, we're going to get Rocco Delgado from St. Joe's Montvale, and I think he's going against John Wargo from Peaburg. You know, you're talking about 2 guys who pretty much were on the same mat at Rutgers for the groups, if you think about it, that Peaburg wrestled on the same mat that St. Joe's Montvale wound up wrestling on later. So both guys were on the same mat in Rutgers for the groups. I'll tell you what, I might be out of it here. I don't know. When I watched Delgado wrestle, he was good, but I liked how Wargo has been performing. I'm going with Wargo.
I have to too, man. I mean, Wargo has just been, he's always been good, but I think this is his year where he is proving something big to not just the Phillipsburg community, but to the state as well. And for him to get a lower seed than we thought he would have gotten is mind-blowing to me.
See, I think that's going to motivate him. And listen, and in my consolation match, I got Daniel Elash from Paramus and Caden Sternlead from St. Thomas Aquinas. Now, there's also some other wrestlers I want to highlight that I have no doubt, I think, if they go on a run, could make it onto the podium and go to AC. You got to look at, from Montville, Luca Billia, 33-4 this year. I like him. Austin Bazinski, who finished 3rd at Regions, District 6, but was in there with and had him almost to his back, Dean Mangio-Cavallo from Randolph, who's 24-2. So there's a couple guys I think could sneak in there and possibly do something. It's just going to be tough, and there's always some upsets at heavyweight. But would I be shocked if I saw a Mangio-Cavallo there? No. Would I be shocked if I saw a Billy on the podium? No. I mean, there's a lot of really good guys, who go down, but I think it's going to be Delegata and Wargo on the final.
And that could be very well, unless I'm jinxing anything, which I hope I'm not, knock on wood, that could be a preview for a state final.
I said the same thing in my preview. So I have it ready to go. I said the same thing. I said this could be, I'm sure there'll be somebody down in South Jersey I'm forgetting, and I'll get angry letters over, but whatever, we'll deal with it. Now, let's get on the road. We're going to shoot up Route 80. We're going to take a sharp turn 280, get off at exit 7 on Route 80, on 280, make the turn. We're going to head to West Orange High School in West Orange, New Jersey. We're going to head to Region 3, which Region 3, you're going to be on the call down there. We're going to have the stream going there. So you can't root for your Hackettstown kids.
But
okay. Looking at what I got down there, my finals, I got Carmine Sipper from Caldwell versus Jake Holly from Pope John. And then in my consolation, I got Cifelli from Nutley and Esposito from West Essex. I like Sipper to win it all.
That's a good pick. I mean, Sippy from Caldwell, got to root for the Caldwell boys a little bit. I'm not rooting, but my former coach, Frank Rogers, is a Caldwell resident there. But I have Jake Holly winning it. But I do think Carmine Sipper is going to make it to the finals. And then obviously you'll have Esposito from West Essex and you'll have Cifelli from Nutley. But this is a really good weight class. This could be one of the toughest weight classes in Region 3.
Heading to 113, I got Nathan Braun from Bergen Catholic facing Jake Taylor from Del Val. And in the consolation, I got Matt D'Arcy from St. Benedict's Prep versus Jacob Ferrer from Belleville. I'm going with Braun here.
I agree with that. I agree with all the picks. Braun from Bergen Catholic is definitely going to walk away with some champions, and I think this will be the beginning of it.
Now, I got in the 120, I got Nicholas Adams from Homeschool West Orange. This is my upset bracket. So I have Nicholas Adams beating a man who qualifies for the consolation match in Christopher Nicofora from Bergen Catholic. But I also have in my other side, it's his time, Nicholas Di Francesco Antonio from Hanover Park, making it to the finals and winning it for Hanover Park. And the other person I have in the consolation is Rafe Fonte from Mendon.
That's definitely some interesting picks there. This was tough, but I'm gonna go with Di Francesco Antonio from Hanover Park. I think he's gonna win it all. I think he's gonna beat the Bergen Catholic wrestler of Christopher Nicofora from Bergen Catholic. And then for my constellations, this was definitely a tough one for sure. But I definitely do like some of the Belleville wrestlers that we saw at Essex County. Leo Tienke could definitely make it there too if all things do work out well. So I think Leo Tienke from Belleville could make it. And I do like Ray Fonte from Mendham as well. But I also like the West Orange wrestler too, Nicholas Adams, who's done really well this year too.
So let's head to 126. Got Dalton Weber. These are my finalists. Dalton Weber from Pope John. I think he's going to meet Jaden Perez from Del Val in the finals. 1-2. And then my consolation match, I got Mario Del Vecchio from St. Mary's Rutherford versus Nick Basanti from West Essex. In a HWS finals rematch, Weber takes it again. I really like those guys, and I think they'll be the ones that come out, and kind of make some noise.
I agree with that. The finals of Dalton Weber and Jaden Perez. I do take Weber. I think Perez is definitely going to give him another shot, another chance to try to win it. But I do think Weber has just been on a different role, at a higher capacity level for wrestling. I think he does win it. My constellations is going to be this was kind of tough, but I do think I do like Nick Basante from West Essex to make it down there, and kind of a little bit off of a whim a little bit, but I think there's a good chance either Mario Del Vecchio from St. Mary Rutherford or Joseph Keeler from Rutherford that could make it definitely down there as well.
At the 132, I got Carson Walsh from Pope John and Matt Roach from Del Val. And then my consolation match, I got Ethan Curlin from West Essex and Nicholas Balella from Hackettstown. And I think Walsh takes it.
I agree with that. Walsh makes it to the finals and wins it. It'll be a good matchup to see Balella and Roach again, just like at the HWS semifinals. I think Roach is going to avenge that loss. He'll make it to the final. But I do think Curlin from West Essex and Balella are also going to be wrestling in the consolation finals.
138, I got Joshua Beza from Kearney versus Justin Holly from Pope John. And my consolation, Noah Kochman from Bergen Catholic versus Jackson Bush from Delaware Valley. But do not sleep on Joey Tantawai from Hanover Park. But Baez is my pick from Kearney.
That's a good pick right there, too. I think he also proved a lot of people wrong this weekend of why he's going to be a wrestler to definitely look out for. I'm going to go with Justin Holly to make it to the finals. I think he has a good chance to win it here. I think he's going to I took him as a Region 3 champion to wrestle up against we're going to say Josh Beza from Kearney. And then the constellations, Jackson Bush, I think could definitely be there too. But I definitely do like Thomas Ruane from West Essex or Joey Tantawai that we were talking about from Hanover Park too. Do not sleep on him. He definitely shocked everybody in the gym at 138 this last weekend.
Now let's head to 144. Jack Myers from Morristown versus Rocco Negron from Belleville. That's my pick for the finals. And then in the consolation match, Reed Clousey from West Essex versus Anthony Moreno from St. Mary's Rutherford. I really like Jack Myers here. I think he finally finishes it, gets on the podium and gets number one this year.
100%. I mean, what else can we say about Jack Myers except he's just been absolutely phenomenal, putting Morristown on the map this year and giving them a name for themselves, and could definitely be competing for a state title going into next weekend. So Jack Myers is my pick to win it all. I like Rocco Negron from Belleville. And then the constellations, this will be interesting. But another wrestler that I kind of thought I liked, Reed Clossy from West Essex, but I also kind of was pretty impressed when I saw him wrestle at Hackettstown in that quad. Joel Gonzalez from Verona could also be that one of those guys that could definitely give Verona a state qualifier here. So I wouldn't sleep on him either. He could do some really big things.
Heading to 150, Ben Levy from Del Val versus Nick Janish from West Essex is my finals pick. And then for consolation, I got Jaden Isnaga from Bergen Catholic versus Jake Ferry from Verona. But I'd like Levy to walk away with it.
I agree. I'm going to go with Levy from Del Val. I think he wins it all. I think he's been on a roll this season. I think he's going to prove everybody why. I think he's going to meet up with Nick Janish from West Essex. And then for obviously for the constellations, I think Jake Ferry from Verona. And tough one right here, but I think Jaden Naga from Bergen Catholic also in the constellations.
157, I got Ryan Ford from Bergen Catholic versus Jordan Stallone from Beckton. And then for my consolation match, I got Michael Sutter from Del Val versus Nizaire Williams from Newark Collegiate. And I think Ford takes it for Bergen Catholic.
I think Ford definitely will. I think Ford definitely makes it to the finals and should win it, whoever he does wrestle, who I think is going to be Jordan Stallone from Beckton. I also would like to see what Diario from Livingston as well could also be. He was pretty impressive too when we saw him at the Essex County tournament. That definitely could make a name for themselves. But I also like Williams from Newark Collegiate Charter School too. That would be personally my constellation picks.
For 165, I'm taking Gentia Drizzy from Bergen Catholic to face Lorenzo Camano from Caldwell. And I think in the consolation match, I think you got Joseph Jean-Marie from Livingston, who we saw, and a guy who's just been really impressive to me, Nando Ott from Hanover Park. And I'm going with Camano here. And then, well, like I said, a couple guys to keep an eye out on. Michael Fami from Whippany Park. Keep an eye on him. He's got a tough draw. And then Isaiah Robinson of West Essex or excuse me, of Irvington. Two guys I think could make some noise. And then Jose Alvarenga Giron from Hackettstown, I think could make a nice little run there if he wants.
Those are definitely some really good names. I have Idarizzi from Bergen Catholic winning it all, meeting Kamano from Caldwell. But I also like to Luke Sinkowitz from Del Val too, to kind of see what he can do. But this is a really tough weight class here too, where could be anybody, but only 4 of them are going to make it down.
Heading to 175, I got Timolen Menbilig from St. Benedict's Prep facing Carmine Massey of West Essex in the finals. And my consolation match, Logan Cantone from Bergen Catholic versus Jack McCaffrey of Madison. Couple other guys you kind of want to keep an eye out on. Matthew Cooney from Weehawken. He's got a solid match at the beginning. Jonathan Earnhardt from Whippany Park, and Nicholas McNone from Caldwell. But yeah, that's my picks at 175.
I'm going with Menbeleg to make the finals. I think he's going to win it over Carmine Massey from West Essex. I've definitely talked a lot about Menbeleg from St. Benedict's. I just think this is his weight class to win it. Takedown machine. He'll take you down left. He'll take you down right. Could pin you if he wanted to. This guy is unbelievable. I'm taking him to win over Massey.
Heading to 190, I got Vincenzo Laval from Hanover Park making it, facing Pantaleo Varga from Bergen Catholic. And then in the consolation, I got Kyle Blue from Belvedere versus Anderson Alcott from Del Val. I really like Laval here. I think he's been pissed off since the MCT, and I think he's going to dominate.
I agree. I think Laval wins it here. I mean, there's no other really way to really explain how good Laval really is. So I'm gonna take Laval to win it. It will be interesting to see who he meets in the finals, but I do like Varga from Bergen Catholic. Anderson Olcott is definitely one that will wrestle in the constellations. But I also do like there's a couple good ones in here too, but I definitely would keep an eye on Henry Saxton from Morristown and Andrew Finesca from Caldwell, who are some guys that I think could definitely do some damage too. And I also like Kyle Blue too. He also really impressed me this weekend at District 11, or this past weekend.
Heading to 215, I got Tommy Borgia from West Morris making the finals against Arthur Rosu of West Orange. And then in the consolation, I got Brian Mejias from Cliffside Park versus Mason Mark from Bergen Catholic. I like Borgia. I think Borgia takes it.
I do too. I think Borgia, we've talked so much about him this year, spoke very highly of his wrestling career so far at West Morris. I think he wins it and gives the title for West Morris, and I think that'll be a good matchup to see him go up against Arthur Russo from West Orange. That'll be a really good match.
And don't forget, Borgia had a really good run as a freshman, so I mean he's solid with what he's doing this year. But heading to 285, I got Benjamin Shue from Bergen Catholic versus Brandon Ronzo from Nutley. And in the consolation, I got Gabriel McCulloch from Bloomfield versus Isaiah Lambert from Irvington. I like Toronzo to stay undefeated.
I do too, man. I mean, we've talked about him before quite a few times this season. We saw him wrestle in the Essex County Finals. There's no reason why I can't pick Brandon Toronzo. This guy's just been absolutely insane this year. He takes it down left, he takes it down right. He pins you in a matter of seconds. He reminds me in a way of how he wrestles. It's almost similar to the way that we see John Morgo wrestle. So I would not be shocked here if he wins it all. But I also do like his matchup with Benjamin Shue from Bergen Catholic in the finals, and then I like the other two wrestlers that you've mentioned of Gabriel McCulloch from Bloomfield, and I do like the Irvington wrestler of Isaiah Lambert. They could definitely make it there.
Now we're going to head to Region 4 and 5, but because we have limited coverage of who's down there and only a few people, I'm just going to make a few bold predictions, and you tell me if I'm crazy with these bold predictions, James. Region 4 at Union. Here's my bold prediction. North Hunterdon's going to qualify 2 for states, including Reed Busby, who's going to win the 106 title. Hunterdon Central is going to advance 5 with Rossi at 120, Thompson at 138, Wazleski at 150, and Brunetti at 175, all winning titles. While Voorhees is going to qualify 3, including 157-pound champion Logan Wycoric.
I don't think you're crazy at all. Those are really, really solid wrestlers. Every single one of them are really solid wrestlers. They should be able to compete this weekend and be able to showcase why they belong in Atlantic City. So I like all those wrestlers a lot. Would not shock me if they all qualified.
And then Region 5, the only team we have down there due to the realignment is Del Barton. This is my Del Barton strange prediction. All 13 Del Barton wrestlers will qualify for states, and they'll have 7 champions.
That's also not crazy at all. Not at all. I mean, Del Barton is just that team. They're on a national level. They're just so up there right now, and with everybody else in that region too. That no reason why Del Barton shouldn't qualify 13 wrestlers.
And honestly, they should have had 14, but obviously Dan Jones pulled out before the districts, but he would have been a favorite. He's a former state champion. But listen, we thank you. We have all our stuff coming here for obviously the regions. If you want to watch my coverage of Region 1, just click on the link for the West Milford Region 1. If you want to watch James' coverage of Region 3, just click on the Region 3 West Orange. And if you'd like to watch any of the girls' regions, I'll be at North 1. James will be at North 2. I'll be in Vernon. He'll be in Union. But follow us on social media, on Facebook at GardenStateHSWrestling.com, on Twitter or X at Garden State HSW, on Instagram, Garden State HS Wrestling. And like and subscribe on YouTube. You get notified when we have any of our upcoming live streams, events, everything we do. And if you're interested in sponsoring, click on the Your Ad here on any page. You can sponsor a live stream or a team page ad. Fill out the form. It's very inexpensive. Go get back to you within 24 hours. And if you'd like to have us set up to come out and film or do anything with your team, send me an email at admin@GardenStateHSWrestling.com. We have limited spots available for the upcoming season. We've been filling up like crazy, but let us try to help you. We do the legacy matches. We do the big rivalries, any of the big moments. Let GardenStateHSWrestling.com, the original GardenStateHSWrestling.com, provide you with the utmost service, the premier high school wrestling service provider in all of New Jersey. For James Clarke and Jared, the podcasting legend, I'm Donald J. Brower. 1 week left, and it's AC time, baby. We'll see you then.